On behalf of Crosscheck Media and BizTalk Today TV, welcome everyone to The Money Path. I am your host, Todd Schoenberger. Joining me today is Sandeep Sahai. He is the CEO of Clearwater Analytics. Sandeep, welcome to The Money Path. I have to start asking about this $10 trillion figure. I was doing some research on Clearwater, and your company actually is accountable for information data, financial data, worth some $10 trillion. Can you tell the audience a little bit more about the company and maybe what encompasses that large amount?
Absolutely. So thank you, Todd, for having me on the show again. So I'm excited to be back here again, representing the team at Clearwater. And I guess the question is, what is this $10 trillion? And essentially what we do is for our clients, which can include insurance companies and asset managers and corporates, we provide accounting for the investment book of record. So everything they do on a daily basis, we get in, we ingest it, and we give them an overall global view of all their assets. And therefore, they can do the accounting, they can do regulatory reporting, they can do compliance, and then we do risk calculations, and we do trading services. So we also have a front end which allows them to actually do the trade. So the 10 trillion really encompasses all of the assets held by our clients. But it's comprehensive, Todd, though, in the sense because you do accounting, you have to know all of it, right? Just like if your accountant today knows everything you did in the last year, we do the same thing for the client, but these are corporate, so we have to know it on a daily basis. So this is real money.
Yeah, it's a lot of money. And you actually are handling everything from compliance, accounting, also to the investment management side. So one item that did come up recently was that Clearwater rolled out to 2,400 investment managers all at one time, a generative AI program. Can you explain to the audience what that was about?
Yeah, when you think about the investments you make personally, Todd, you look at 4 or 5 things, or maybe 10 or 20, right? And when you got corporates, they can look at 100 ideas, 150 ideas. What generative AI allows you to do is synthesize assets around the world. And instead of looking at 150 ideas, you can look at 1,500 ideas to come up with the best thing for your portfolio. So what we're trying to do is get clients to do more with the same number of people, just like you and I do. I think you and I have our own money in our investment portfolios. And look at the amount of time you can spend on it, somewhat limited. Generative AI can expand that by 10x, 20x, and eventually I'm hoping many, many more times than that.
So with the volatility, go ahead. I apologize.
No, please.
Well, my question is, with the volatility we've seen this year, I mean, especially now, get this war in Iran, you have oil over $100, extreme volatile times on Wall Street. How does AI, though, help calm those fears, or at least give direction to an investment manager where it's going to help them perform better than, say, a human?
Yeah, can I ask, how often do you see your own portfolio? Not that often, right?
Yeah.
And the point is, in times of stress and volatility, you probably want to see it more often. Same thing with our clients, Todd. When there's volatility, they want information about what exactly they own. And that sounds like an easy problem till you think about buying a REIT. Okay, you bought a REIT or a piece of a REIT. Where are the 1,000 real estate properties below it? Do you know? Well, it's hard to know. What about a CLO? What about a bank loan? So it's easy to think about, I as a portfolio manager want to know where my assets are. It's a pretty hard problem to answer because equities are easy, but when you talk about these alternative assets, these complex, opaque assets, even finding out what you know is hard. And unless you know what you're exposed to, how can you act on it? What Clearwater does is gives you a comprehensive view of your global portfolio every day. And so, yes, in times like this, we can provide them with much, much better information and allow them to act faster than if you did not have a system like Clearwater. That's the whole point.
So using your REIT example, now this is fascinating to me because the family office that oversees Crosscheck Media invests in a considerable amount of REITs. But what you're suggesting is that the underlying investments in those REITs, you actually can provide data, news data, that is going to be just supplied to say me as the manager who has to pick and choose these REITs and whether there's danger ahead or maybe opportunities ahead. Your system provides that, it sounds like?
That's what the generative AI piece can do. Generative AI, Todd, if you just sit all the way back, you can already figure out structured. What is the price? What happened? How many of those you own? That you can get from a structured database. But an unstructured database like news, how do you do that? And the amount of energy you need to go out and look at data from all over the world all the time. Yeah, that's the kind of stuff generative AI can do. It can bring you the fact that there is an earthquake in some part of the world. And by the way, did you know you had assets in that part of the world? Do you want to act on it? Same thing with oil. Oh, the price has gone here. Do you understand your volatility? Do you understand your overall portfolio risk? Do you understand cash flows from your portfolio? Now, people like the family office care, but think about colleges and endowments. They need to understand what the cash flow is going to look like. And if they have exposure to oil, first derivative of a second derivative, yeah, we can give them that view. And that's why we are powerful. Look, Todd, if you're just doing equities, we aren't much better. We can tell you equity position, but when you get to these alternative assets, that's where it becomes tricky because not easy to understand. And when you want to marry structured and unstructured data, that's where generative AI is so powerful.
So how does, because your system is gathering information that anybody else can obtain, correct?
No, not really, because no one can figure out what does an insurer A actually own today. How would they know, right? We know because we are the accountant. Think about who knows what you really own. One person, just your accountant. You may have some money with some of the asset managers, some more money with E-Trade, some money with here. Who pulls it together? Your accountant. And that's why we know exactly what Todd has, except that you get to know once a year because you're doing taxes. But if you were subject to compliance and regulatory reporting, you would have to know that on a daily basis, which is why we have to know everything a client has and everything they've traded the previous evening. So if somebody does something today, we know by tomorrow morning. I mean, as an example, when Ukraine was invaded, we knew that evening that people were delivering Taiwan. Not that because we had any insight, Todd. It's just that if you look at the trades they did, we knew people are selling Taiwan. And that's the point. We get to know, which I don't think you can get to know from the outside, though. I mean, how would you? I mean, no one talks about what to do.
Right. And you're right. It's definitely inside baseball data that you're providing. What about privacy concerns, though? I mean, the data that you're supplying seems like it's coming from your clients from other sources, but you're utilizing that data and providing it to maybe a competitor. Do you ever
No,
run
I
into a
don't think that's,
roadblock?
we provide it to that client. So we are providing to the client. If you were the client, you own the REITs, your assets are under that REIT. What is going on with your assets is what I can tell you about. So I am letting you know that you own, I'm not telling you what to do. All I'm telling you is that you own this batch of real estate items, and some of those real estate items are in Dubai, and that is under risk. You should look into it. So I'm sort of giving you all the information comprehensively, globally, and then letting you know where we think there is danger and where we think there are issues for you to look at. But then what decision you make, completely yours. We are not an advisor. We are not a fiduciary in that sense.
Okay, now that makes sense. So, of the 2,400 investment managers that received the generative AI program from Clearwater, what's the feedback been like?
Yeah, it's awesome. So we have, what we do is we develop agents for specific work. So you develop an agent which can do, let's say, NAIC reporting, or we can do regulatory reporting in Japan, or risk calculation, so something like that. And we thought we would develop 50, 70 agents which could help our clients. We are above 800 agents at this time. So clients are working with us, we are working with clients. And what you're trying to drive toward is autonomous action, that this agent can go do autonomously, work on something. Other things, though, you want to manage human in the loop intervention, which is the agent does it almost and then says, please confirm that this works. In our world, which is accounting, regulatory reporting, you want human in the loop in many, many of these instances. But wouldn't it be nice if an agent did 99% of the work? That's what we're able to do. We're able to provide that to our clients.
So is the objective though? I mean, for these investment management firms, they could cut down on labor, human labor, correct?
Two sides, right, Todd? So I think of one as efficiency, which is can I get better at what I'm doing and do it more efficiently? And that really matters. But the thing is, when you think about investment return, instead of looking at 100 ideas, if I can parse 1,000 ideas, can I meaningfully improve my investment return? That's the rub. The rub is, can you get better at what you do? So let's take a live example. So it's sort of at least gives you a sense. It's like you sitting back 20 years back and saying, can I make my taxi dispatch company more efficient because of the internet? And of course you can. And that would be one string of work. But the other one is, can we go find Uber? Can we develop Uber and completely change how wealth management is done or completely change how investments are made? So yes, there is a big element around becoming more efficient. And if you look at Clearwater, and you go read about our quarterly results from 2 years back and 3 years back, our efficiency is frankly very, very high, and that is shown by the gross margin. Our business's gross margin was 74, 75, 79 and a half in the last quarter we reported. So the point is, yes, you can get efficiency, but it is half the story though, Todd. I think you miss it if you don't think about, I also have to implement or have to invent Uber. So yeah, I think wealth management is going to change so completely that people won't recognize it 5 years from now.
So financial services firms are forecasted to spend $97 billion on AI spend just next year. This is a CAGR of 29%. You already know the data points.
Yeah.
Do you believe that Wall Street, though, there's an arms race when it comes to AI spend? And what are the risks for the firms that don't spend as much? I mean, how about them being left behind?
Yeah. I point to a few to my people in my company, and you know all of them. It was Bloomberg. When you think about what was most dominant in streaming, Blockbuster was the dominant way people saw movies at home. And then
That's right.
Netflix destroyed it. And then you had Siebel, and Salesforce destroyed it. And then you had Compaq. You remember Compaq? And then they got destroyed by. So the point is, I think that if people don't change and recognize the might of this, Todd, this is not like you'll be less profitable. You could get destroyed if you don't reinvent. So I think most companies who are forward-looking are going to not just do a little bit, they're going to embrace it. I don't know whether you know, but Blockbuster actually had a group they set up called Blockbuster Streaming to compete. No, but they were doing a little bit of it. I think any CEO you talk to will say, yeah, we are also looking at a generative AI. It's not the point. If they don't embrace it and think through their Uber, they could be in jeopardy. So I feel like it is that big a deal when you think about what generative AI will do. If people focus just on efficiency, Todd, I think it's half the game.
Yeah, I completely agree with that statement. I mean, you either get it or you don't. I mean, there's really no in between. And for those that don't get it, yeah, they're going to really fall behind quickly. So you have publicly mentioned about generative AI programs being the quote Amazon of investment ideas, a powerful statement. Can you explain a little bit to the audience what you mean by this?
Yeah, I think if you think about before Amazon, you could have called every store in the United States and come up with the best place to buy toothpaste. You could have done that, right? And you didn't because it didn't make sense. It was not economical. But Amazon allows you to do that. You can buy from Amazon and they source from wherever it is done. And what has happened, Todd, is you actually Amazon is selling more and more from small and medium-sized businesses. 60% of everything sold on Amazon today is from small and medium businesses. What about wealth? Where do you invest, by the way? Think about yourself. We go to only the largest names we know about. And like people used to go to a Walmart and they used to go to a local store and a Macy's and everybody else. Does generative AI bring ideas from around the world, from big companies, small companies, companies in Minnesota, companies in Boise, Idaho, all over the world, and bring it to Todd in a meaningful way, in a synthesized way? I think generative AI is going to allow you that. And if it allows you that, Todd, will you make better choices? I think you will. But then does that change forever how you invest money? I think it will. And so I do feel that the current system is ripe for disruption. I don't sound super alarmist, but the point is, you just have to think about yourself. How efficient are you in investing your money, Todd? And if the answer is not very, which I suspect it is, because most of us just give it to a wealth manager and we sort of forget about it, yeah, then your life and your investment strategy changes forever in 3 years.
Right. And there's nothing wrong with new technology being disruptive. I mean, that's how you know it's going to be a success. So that's the really, and you just look at American history. I mean, we've seen this over the past few decades. I mean, all the way back to somebody inventing the calculator. Everybody
Yeah.
thought math teachers would be out of business. So it's the evolution of it. I can understand that. Let's talk about the regulatory side for a second.
Yeah.
So financial services firms, heavily regulated, as you know. How does AI help from a regulatory / compliance standpoint?
Yeah, I think that if you think about regulatory reporting, I think the problem is companies are so vast. It's hard to get a sense of what's going on in every pocket of it, and people miss it. I don't think there's a wrong intention. I think the issue is you just miss it. That something happened around the world, and especially if they're happening across divisions and functions and middle office and front office and one asset class versus the other, you just miss it. And what generative AI, I think, will do is dramatically improve their capacity to send agents out to all of these sections of the company and bring all the data back in a persistent way, Todd, which is it's always watching what's going on and raising these signals to you. But what does that do? Hopefully, it takes down the cost of regulatory reporting very meaningfully and allows the same people to focus on investments, an investment decision of the kind you are talking about, which is oil has gone to $100. What should we be doing? Instead of spending all the time on regulatory reporting, we should focus on the innovation, which is what America is great at. It's innovation. It is not that we are better at reporting to the regulators. Yeah, lots of people can do that well, but we come up with Uber, we come up with Lyft, we come up with Anthropic, we come up with OpenAI. We innovate, and hopefully this makes it easier for us to innovate as an industry and as a technology. So I'm very bullish about all of this, but yeah, we have to make sure that we don't get mired in this can't be done, that can't be done. You have to let innovation flow a little.
And I can understand why you are bullish, and I'm bullish as well with AI and how it's incorporated into financial services. I would imagine the compliance side, speaking on that, you have these AI agents that work as a quasi in-house attorney,
Yeah.
someone who's going to be able to tell you about new rules, regulations, things that you should be aware of, because that's the problem with the financial services side. There's so many lanes from a regulatory standpoint. So using your services sounds like that's the way to go. It's an ideal way to go. At least it will keep you out of trouble and plus lower your costs over time. On the 2,400 investment managers, I am curious though, how did you pick them to test this generative AI program?
All of them. So we have 2,400 clients. We actually rolled it out to everybody and said, all of you should use it. If you're not using it, not a good thing. You should embrace it. And that's the key word we are trying to use with them is embrace it and adopt it. Don't just use it. I think no CEO is going to talk to you, Todd, and say, I don't care about generative AI. Everyone's going to say, but to embrace it in the spirit of trying to find the Uber of their industry is the way to think about it, I think. And so we are rolling it out to everybody. You will continue to see very quick rollouts over the next several months. I'm sure you know this, but all of this new software being written by Claude is self-written. Claude is writing its own next version within a space of months, and it is 10x better and 20x better. So I feel that people have to embrace it, and we are going to roll it out very aggressively and continue to help clients sort of use it better. And many of our webinars are done by clients because we want clients to be able to say what they are doing better. It is a fascinating time. But if I may, just you got to bring disparate pieces together. We've got to bring what Todd is saying about oil together with the actual cotton production, together with real estate, and together with my actual holdings of investments, merge it all together and bring it in a proper synthesis, putting it together at least. generative AI is exactly the tool to do that. Think about what it does. It takes vast quantities of data, merges it, and makes it real, which is why, it's got also challenges on energy consumption and all that, because it is sorting through so much data for everything.
So this program, then you're providing it to the clients, but there's a cost to it. Are you able to disclose the cost of the program?
Yeah, I think that we are, to be very just transparent, we are more worried about clients using it effectively versus trying to make all of the money today. It's not the point. If people use our platform to disruptively get better return, it gives us a better chance to position the product, right, Todd? So if you are getting, let's say, 5.2% from your portfolio today, and we can get you a way to get 6.2, it's a better time to have a discussion about what you might pay for it, right? So I think we charge clients some, but I think we have said we want you to use it, see what value you can derive from it, and then we will talk about it comprehensively about value addition.
Looking out 5 years from now,
Yeah.
How do you think people will view AI in terms of investing, institutional investing, even retail investing?
I just think you have to think about yourself. And I like to bring it back to you and to Clearwater because it puts a dimension on it. I mean, right now, if you think about how you choose your wealth manager and what to trade on and how you trade on, I don't think you make who do you know, who do you play with, who do you hang out with, and that's how you choose your money people. But what we will be able to tell you if you were a client, and we don't do individuals, but if you were a client, is what is your return like compared to the other Todds in Washington, D.C.? And you would say, oh, I'm of a certain age, a certain family status, and certain amount of wealth. How do I do against them? What agents will be able to tell you is, Todd, your return is in the 30th percentile, and that's going to irritate you. And we are going to be able to say, you know what the 90th percentile Todd does? And we're going to be able to help you take your return to the 90th percentile. Not me, the agent. Think about that, Todd, though. But what happens is if I tell you about S&P, you don't really care enough and if I tell you about portfolio returns, you'll say, oh, those young people don't have to worry. I'm of a different age and people like me have exposure to this. But if you can pick your Todds and your agent can find all the Todds on our system and come back with that, how powerful is that? And it'll do it only for Todd, just like TikTok can. If you think about TikTok, you scroll, it knows what Todd wants to see. We know what Todd will want to invest in because of generative AI. And that will change how you invest.
Wow, that is outstanding. And if I could go from 30th to 90th, I'm a definite customer.
That's the point, right? Isn't it?
That's right. That's right. If you can improve the odds of the Ravens winning the Super Bowl, that would help as well.
Not that. If we get the Commanders up there, then we are talking.
There you go. Sandeep, this was fantastic. I got to have you back. We have to talk some more about it because this is just an evolving story. Yeah. Just like with AI, it's just going to continue to evolve. And I hope to have you back very soon. We can continue the conversation.
Thank you so much, Todd. I appreciate it.
Thank you. So on behalf of Sandeep Sahai, I am Todd Schoenberger. Thank you once again for joining us on the Money Path. Coming up at 3 o'clock live, we have breaking news coverage of what happened with the Miami Dolphins on Joe Madden's show, Madden on the Line. You would not want to miss that at 3 o'clock Eastern. Until then, take care.
Access real-time data and intelligent analytics exactly when you need them. Get the right data at the right time. Learn more at quotemedia.com.
We're the economic modern family. Watch the flow. Market vibes tell you where the trends might go. We're the economic fam, guiding the scene from the streets to the screens to your trading machine. Tap in, stay tuned, feel the beat line, cause the market tells a story through the family line.
There's more happening behind the headlines, and you deserve the full story. At Biz Talk Today TV, we break down investing, government moves, entertainment business, and even sports gambling, all in one place. Real conversations, smart insights, content that helps you think smarter and stay ahead. Thousands are tuning in. Don't miss what's next. Subscribe now to Biz Talk Today TV on YouTube and join the conversation shaping the future.